context. But as a researcher, as a genetist, because from almost 25 years, I'm working on different aspects of health issues, both in male and female. And one or other way, both are interrelated. And in that context, today, let me discuss few points about how different the male and female brains are. Based on that, generally, we can come out with a lot of information. And then later on, you can think how the gender sensitization will support us. So you will be getting a lot of information. So you can link these two, you can bridge the gender sensitization with that of the nature of the brain, female and the male brain. Okay, let me share this PPTs. So the topic is gender sensitization in a different perspective. That's a scientific analysis. Yeah. Whether are stronger than men. Generally, we'll be telling that statement that is a females are stronger than men. It is a complex phenomenon depending upon how we define strength. Physical strength means male are stronger, but with respect to the emotional thing, so females are generally stronger. So you must be knowing now people are giving whole globe. They are looking for different quotient. Like earlier, we were always concentrate on IQ. That is a intelligent quotient. Nowadays, the terminology has been changed. So it is always related to emotional quotient, adversity quotient, and many other things. So in that context, this gender sensitization, if we define that, so who is stronger, whether it is a men or women, so strength can be considered in different ways. So it could be a physical, emotional, and social. So physically, men will be always, generally we say he is very stronger, but mental and emotional and social, all other aspects, there's a different networking in brain in females. So that shows females are stronger, if not physically, mentally, emotionally, and socially. So let us see what are all these different phenomenon. That's the first one is the physical strength. So always generally we talk about the muscular strength. Physical strength in the sense it is a muscular strength. In terms of raw physical strength, particularly it is related to muscle mass and power. Man always it is in upper hand. It is advantageous due to biological and physical factors. So man is stronger than female because of the hormonal variation. First one is very important thing is man has a higher level of testosterone. You must be knowing females have a estrogen, that's a sex hormone, whereas a estrogen. Estrogen is the one which promotes the growth of the muscles. That's a greater physical strength is because of the testosterone. And women, on the other hand, we have a estrogen in a higher level. Both male and females, both of them have testosterone and estrogen. But estrogen is more in case of males and traces in case of females. And testosterone is more in males and less in females. Estrogen more in females, less in males. And both the hormones, because these are testosterone is produced by testes and also from the adrenal gland. So both will share these hormones, testosterone and estrogen, but it is more in case of males. That's why physically they are very stronger. Always the testosterone will support the muscular mass. On the other hand, female have higher estrogen and that tends for the deposition of fat. That's why females after during pregnancy, after delivery, that's a postpartum, and after 1 or 2 kids, they develop obesity because always we have a estrogen and always which will tend or it will vulnerable or it will favor the deposition of fat in adipocytes. That's why there is it may be a belly fat or fat on the backside, all these. So, and because of this, there is a muscular mass will be less in case of females. And muscle mass is 40 to 50% in males, whereas it is females having 30 to 35%. That is with reference to the strength, physical strength. Males are stronger because of the testosterone hormone and always which promote the muscular mass. Whereas females, they have more estrogen that promotes the deposition of the fat. That's why they are physically, they are not that much stronger when compared to male because of the muscular mass. So here, if you look both males and females, the upper body strength is very strong in males when compared to females because of large size and number of muscle fiber in the upper body. In males, we can see there's a six packs. So that means the upper body having a very strong muscle fibers, larger in size, and strength of these muscle fibers are very high in case of males. Whereas in case of females, in the upper body, there's a more fat distribution, and this is very advantageous because instead of muscle mass, females have more fat deposition. Why? Because this stores fat and that supports for the reproduction and child bearing capacity, as well as after labor, the lactation, all these things are supported because of the fat deposition in the upper portion of the body in case of females. So while this gives female a greater energy reservoir reserves, so more fat will be there, and the fat will be utilized during lactation, and thereby the baby needs more of milk and lactation. It requires a lot of energy. That's why she has a less muscle mass when compared to males. This is about the physical strength. How males and females are different physically because of the testosterone, more muscle mass, upper body strength will be more in case of males, whereas females it is estrogen which always supports the fat deposition, and upper portion of the body always more fat will be deposited in the mammary gland cells and in many adipocytes, which acts as an energy reserve for the female, and whenever it is required, it will be utilized. So even in athletes, we can see there is some differences in competitive sports. How males and females will be different. The performance of both of them will be different in sports. Men typically outperform female in event such as the weightlifting and the sprinting, all this because of the more muscle mass. However, endurance or flexibility, there are some sports which requires more endurance and more flexibility, and females are comparably, they are superior, they perform very well in these sports because there is a deposition of fat in the upper body, so that will be utilized during this process, so the endurance will be more, they can perform any function. That's why females know they can tolerate, they can perform any task given, so they perform very well. So other than this is about the physical domain. Other than this, we'll come to, this is very important with reference to gender sensitization. The other domains are mental and emotional resilience. What is resilience? Resilience is a capacity wherein we bounce back for challenges and also with some task. So any task given, so they take up the task, they perform very well, they overcome, and they bounce back for the situation. That is called as a resilience. And mental and emotional resilience are, it is in a very high degree in case of females when compared to males. So for example, pain tolerance, there are a lot of studies done on females that shows that they have a very high pain tolerance. You must be knowing, all are familiar with the labor pain and the menstrual pain, during menstrual bleed every month. They face some, like because of the muscle contraction, there is a pain. The pain is not that at a high level, but they develop, some female develop pain during the menstrual bleed. And the pain is like, no, it is, if you consider that as 100, then the labor pain will be 1,000 times higher than the menstrual pain. So they have made one survey, one analysis is done, and they have calculated approximately the level of pain in during labor, and it is 1,000 times higher than the chronic pain, like during cancer treatment, chemo, radiotherapy, they develop a lot of pain. So more than that, 1,000 times higher, the labor pain will be 1,000 times higher when compared to these pains. So that means pain tolerance capacity is very, very high in case of females when compared to males. Males, they cannot tolerate even small headache and a dental problem or stomach ache. They don't tolerate. So that means here females have a higher pain tolerance. And stress management. There are a lot of research done, and according to them, female have higher stress tolerance capacity when compared to males, because they put all emotion out, thereby they will be relieved, and stress management will be outperformed by females when compared to males. Because if they are very stressful, they share, they gossip, they cry, and they outburst all the stress what they had, thereby they will be empty. But men, they cannot release all these emotions, so they can't cry, they can't shout. They shout sometimes, but they can't do all these emotional releases. That's why stress management is not uh, well done by males when compared to females. And another very important thing is a neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is a female brain may exhibit greater degree of neuroplasticity when compared to males. That means here neuroplasticity means the connection in the brain is so jumbled up, whatever task will be given to them, they are able to perform it. And immediately for any situation, they'll be easily adjusted within short span of time. Whatever may be the situation, they take the control of the situation. All these things will be done by female better than the males because of the neuroplasticity. They develop the networking in the brain developed so well in case of females when compared to males. So social and collaborative strength, if you look into that, here female generally score higher in this empathy, social intelligence, all these things. So social intelligence they have, so they can mingle up with the people, and whatever task given, they can do very well. And social interaction, because they have a very good social health when compared to men. The social health is a nothing but an interaction with a society, and thereby inclusiveness in the society will be done very well in by females when compared to males. And these abilities contribute to emotional strength, resilience in social context, and thereby uh, the what is yeah, the capacity to build supportive network will be done, because there is a the amygdala region in the brain, wherein female brain developed so well for the communication, language, and all these things. Thereby the social strength or the social interaction will be, or the resilience in the social context will be very high in female when compared to male. So sometimes they quarrel, and within no time again they pick it up. So the all these things, gossiping, and even all releasing all the emotions will be very common in females when compared to males. And very important thing, everyone must know about this. So very important about the female and male. So based on that, generally the theme like a gender sensitization could be described or explained based on this context also. Females are multitasker, and they can have a more of cognitive load. Multitasking capacity is very, very high, and this has been proved by many research studies related to this, and they can manage the cognitive load. How much information you can give it to female, they are ready to take it, and they maintain that cognitive load also. And whatever task given, you can give 10 tasks at a time, they are able to perform. I'll explain why such things are there. By that, that is a main strength of the female multitasking. They listen, they write, they think about something else, they think about the family and what to do, how to do all these things. And at a time, they can do 5 to 6 tasks without any problem. But men, it is not possible. They can perform only one task at a time. So if you given two tasks, it is not possible for them to perform both of the things. So that's a multitasking is a nature gift, and having a cognitive load is also nature gift. They have a better any problem or any queries? Okay, so they have a ability to manage a multitask, And whatever the environment, they know how to coordinate and communicate with the things. So 1 second, it's not moving. Okay. So why such differences has happened in both males and female? If you look into the evolutionary aspect. So during the course of evolution in human evolution, and males and females are different by their physical strength, as I mentioned, emotional, reproduction, survival, and other aspect. Men physical strength because he used to hunter or gatherer society we had during the course of evolution. He was in caves, in forest, and he used to gather the food. He used to hunt, and he has to go outside hunting, and there are a lot of risks are there, and he has to. There are a lot of predators, so it is a threat for him. So he used to develop a strong physical, that is a more testosterone, more muscle strength, and that will support for his occupation or the hunter or gatherer condition. So that is advantageous for him to take such a task, hunting, defending himself from wild animals, and thereby performing. There are a lot of challenges physically he required. So in order to cope up with that, there are a lot of changes happen in the brain and in the body. Whereas females, the task for females during the course of evolution, childbearing, taking care of the elderly, and taking care of people who are not well, and taking care of the family. And apart from that, she has to do all other work, and the community building. More of the thing, it is a community building, has evolved to emphasize the endurance. So she has to tolerate all these things for a long duration, and a social connection. So she has to communicate with the elders and the children and neighbors in the society, in the family, all these things. And for that, she has developed the resilience. So whatever the task given, so she know how to manage the thing. So female often has a greater life expectancy. This is very, very important. This might be linked to the biological factor promoting the longevity. They have done a lot of longevity study. Females live longer when compared to males, especially the multifactorial disorders. Like multifactorial disorders means the health issues like diabetes, obesity, high blood pressure, Alzheimer, Parkinson, and infertility. All these multifactorial disorders are more prevalent in men when compared to female because of the female has a estrogen. Estrogen give protection for some of the health issues. And male, as I told you, she has a resilience and emotional IQ is very high. She can manage, thereby the cortisol level in the female will be lesser when compared to males. What happened? Men, he's a hunter or gatherer. So thereby what happened when he goes to forest, used to face the wild animal. Immediately, either there are only two things he has to face. One is either he has to fight with the animal, otherwise he has to run away from the situation. So in order to do this fight or flight, there is a mechanism called HPA axis. HPA means in brain we have a hypothalamus. That's a where endocrine organ, where in the hypothalamus there is a corticotropic releasing hormone will be produced. That hormone in turn activate the pituitary to release adrenocorticotropic hormone. That adrenocorticotropic hormone finally acts upon the adrenal gland and releases cortisol. Nowadays, you must be knowing all are talking about the cortisol. It is a stress hormone. So when there is a stress, then there is a increase in the blood pressure. There is a increase in the sugar level in the blood. Then muscle tension happens, palpitation, all these things, no, finally it will make, if it is continuous, so without any break, one stress after another, one stress after another, then all these are continuous, and this sympathetic nervous system will be activated continuously, and he develops diabetes, heart problem, blood pressure, all these things. But females, the level of cortisol will be less always, because all the emotion, they know how to outburst or output these emotion, they make a gateway for this emotion to go away from the body. Thereby, the resilience capacity will be high, and in turn, that promotes the longevity. They live longer than males. Strength in context of a socialization. So always, generally, always we talk about the physical strength, but the social strength is also very, very important. And this social strength is related to emotional intelligence, leadership quality, all these things. Historically, many cultures have favored physical strength in men, while the social strength will be very, very strong in females. Caregiving, emotional nurturing, emotional labor, nurturing, all these are very important, but they are undervalued. That's what we have to give more focus on this. Though they have a very good leadership quality, because they know how to take care of everyone, they know how to manage the emotional things, and they know how to nurture. All these things are very important in leadership qualities. Okay, so emotional intelligence is very high in case of females also. So, but this has been undervalued. That this area has to be given more focus with related to gender sensitization. The social and cultural factor, if you look into that, gender roles are highly influenced by their culture, which has shaped the strength is defined and perceived. For example, they say female in many societies are taught to be more nurturing, cooperative, emotionally resilient. But men for the physical tasks. So, in this context, women empowerment, everyone they talk about the women empowerment. Then I don't think that she has to be empowered. Now, nobody has to give the empowerment to females, because already genetically, scientifically, she has empowered. Because the very important thing you must be knowing, generally, we talk about Adi Shakti for everything, Adi Shakti, because wherever there is a problem, where the problem cannot be resolved, then they call Adi Shakti. So she is the one which will resolve all the issues. She kills the demon and she saves the earth. That means Adi means first, Shakti means power. So female is a symbolically, she is a powerhouse. That is, she has all the power. So from genetic context, it has lot of strong evidences and basis that she is a Adi Shakti or power. How we can analyze this? So we have a mitochondria in our body. Our body is made up of trillions of cells. In the cells, there is a cell organelle called as a mitochondria. Mitochondria is called as a powerhouse of the cell, because whatever done in the body, anything, whether what activities you are doing, you are drinking water, metabolism, digestion, excretion, or whatever, any work or anything, we need energy. To perform all these things, we need energy. In our body inside, there are more than 3,000 chemical reactions are going on every day. So to make the person alive, more than 3,000 chemical reaction. All these chemical reactions are supported by the power or the ATP. That is called as the adenosine triphosphate. And this ATP is produced from the mitochondria. Mitochondria is a cell organelle. It is there in everyone's body. But this mitochondria has been given from mother, not from father, for everyone. So if I have a mitochondria, it is from my maternal contribution, not from my paternal, not from my father. Anybody on this earth, if they have a mitochondria, always it is from their mother, not from their father. Mitochondria is a cell organelle. I told you, it is responsible for producing energy, that is called as ATP, which is a primary energy source, and through which only everything, if the person is alive, means cellular activity, cellular respiration, everything will be done by this, supported by this mitochondria. And this process occur, the energy production is occur in the mitochondria, and that will convert all the nutrients into ATP. When we take glucose, it will convert it into energy, and finally the energy will be given to the all the cells. So I told you, always mitochondria are the power, what we have, the energy. So that is always from the maternal side. Nobody has to empower her. She already empowered with everything. And how mitochondria is only transmitted from mother, not from father, because what happened during the fertilization? What happened? This is the mitochondria. So this is inside the cell, and energy. This is the powerhouse of the cell, and it will produce energy in the form of ATP. So here what happened during fertilization? Egg and sperm will fuse, and the sperm has this is the structure of the sperm. Sperm has the head, neck, and tail. And during fertilization, only the head will enter into the egg. This head has only the DNA or the genetic material. And the mitochondria in the males or in the sperm will be in the here. This is the region where they have a mitochondria. So only this portion will enter into the egg. Thereby, the baby will, that is after fertilization or fusion of egg and sperm, then it develops into zygote. Then finally we can see organogenesis, and finally we'll have a baby. So the baby will be having cell organelle, mitochondria, Golgi, all those things. It is from the maternal side. So here, see, this is the girl, boy, and this is the mitochondria. All these are the mitochondria in the cell. All the mitochondria comes from mother, not from father. Father gives only the DNA or the genetic material, and mother gives DNA, mitochondria, cytosol, and many other cell organelles. And mitochondria is energy, and energy comes from mother to everyone. That's why we consider female is a Adi Shakti, because she is the one who gives power to everyone, all individual on this earth. So another very important thing about the female, we need not make her empowered. Already she is empowered with everything. One is the energy or the power. The second one is females have a 2X chromosome. Males have a 1X and 1Y chromosome. So X chromosome is larger than the Y chromosome. Females have a X chromosome which are larger than the Y chromosome. Y chromosome is very tiny. Yeah, this is the X chromosome. Female has two such X chromosome. This is the Y chromosome. Males have one X and one Y. And X chromosome has more than 1,500, approximately 1,500 genes, and so many important genes. They are very, very important for our vision, for our muscle, for our survival. So many very important things are present in the X chromosome. If something wrong with the X chromosome, the baby will develop lot of health issues, diseases. Whereas in case of Y chromosome, only few genes are there, functional genes, and these genes, they always meant for reproduction, only reproduction, nothing else. If something went wrong in a Y chromosome, they survive, no problem for their vision, no problem for their muscle, nothing. Only problem is their fertility. They cannot reproduce. That's the only thing. So for the survival of an organism or the individual, X chromosome is very, very important. Something wrong with X chromosome, it is a disaster. Something wrong with the Y chromosome, nothing happens, only they compromise with the fertility factor. And these, I told you, the genes are the X chromosome, very important for vision, cognition, even the brain development is also decided by the X chromosome. And the immunity, and that is immunity power for the infection, all those things are always given by the X chromosome, not the Y chromosome. So for the survival of the organism, whatever is required, it is given by the X chromosome. So Y chromosome, I told you, there is a one SRY gene that will decide the sex of the individual, and it is very important for the development of the testis and also hormones. Testosterone, I told you, testosterone is one always which demarcate male and female. So with reference to so many things. So this testosterone is produced from the testis. And testis development is decided by the SRY gene. There's a one gene called as the SRY gene. And all Y chromosome genes are for sperm production, the nature of the sperm count, motility, morphology, functionality of the sperm, and other things. So in the evolutionary context, earlier what has happened, Y chromosome was the size of the X chromosome, it was large, but nature considered that it is not important. So let it degrade. So now the degradation of the Y chromosome has started. It has degraded, and now it is very small in size. And recently, 6 months back, there was one Chinese study. They are telling that Y chromosome is deteriorating every now and then. So once, if it is completely degenerate, there will be no human race on the globe. And they told it takes another 100 million years to complete degeneration of the Y chromosome. Thereby, no men will be there on the earth. So no male, then no fertilization, no progeny. So the human race will be eradicated completely on the earth. So that's why there is a threat for that. But nowadays you have seen there is an increase in fertility rate also. So because of there is a problem with the Y chromosome. It is related to only fertility when compared to all other processes. So this is the X chromosome. It is larger and Y chromosome is smaller. It will perform so many activity. X chromosome is larger, Y chromosome is 1/3 of this X chromosome. And X chromosome have more of the genes, very, very important for our survival. If we want to survive, we need X chromosome, healthy X chromosome. But Y chromosome has hundreds genes. This is 1,000 and this is 100. And X chromosome is very important for the cognition and brain development. If the baby is not healthy, baby's IQ is less, there is something wrong with the X chromosome. And Y chromosome, any problem with Y chromosome? It's okay, it could be tolerated. So, another very important and in the genetic context, with reference to the gut microbe, you must be knowing our body has trillions of cells, approximately I'm telling. And along with that, there are trillions of bacteria inside. From mouth till anus, everywhere we have a bacteria. And we live with the bacteria. And these are, you must be knowing, in our gut, there are more bacteria. They reside in the gut. That's why we consider it as a gut microbiome. And they are very, very important. So they live with us. And there are two categories. One is good gut microbes and another set is a bad gut microbes. They always live together. But whenever there is a good gut microbes are in the upper hand, then we will be very healthy. Always we are healthy. If by chance there is a higher end of the bad gut microbes, then we will be sick. So everything, not only the physical health, even mental health is also decided by these gut microbes. Because what happens, the gut microbes like a lactobacillus, bifidobacteria, all these things, they use the protein, whatever we eat, and tryptophan is an amino acid in the protein. And also all fiber, what we eat, vegetable, fruits, all these things, sprout. If there is that's a fibrous diet, and tryptophan, the tryptophan they utilize, and that they convert the tryptophan into serotonin. Serotonin is a mood hormone. So this is a mood stabilizer. So if you want to be healthy and if you want to be happy, then we need to have a high quantity of the serotonin. And there it is 90% of the serotonin is produced by the bacteria itself and only 10% from the brain. So these gut microbes play a very, very important role. Nowadays, lot of research is going on about the gut microbes. That's why we should have more probiotics. Probiotics like curd, buttermilk, pickle, idli, dosa, all kind of fermented kanji and ragi ambali and rice ambali, all these things fermented. So that will proliferate these gut microbes and they produce the serotonin, and the serotonin is a mood hormone or mood stabilizer. And all these gut microbes are it comes from mother, not from father. All entire gut microbes, whatever we have, everyone on this earth, it is always from our maternal side, grandmaternal side. Only from the maternal side we got these gut microbes. How? During vaginal birth. So first time baby inside the womb is not exposed to any microbes. It is safe. During delivery, during vaginal delivery, that is one of the primary way of the infant to expose to microbiome. When it comes from vagina during a normal delivery, first time the baby will be exposed to the microbes. Babies born vaginally are exposed to this vaginal and gut microbes during delivery. And whatever gut microbes I have in my gut, it is from my mother contribution. And whatever she has, it is from her mother contribution. So, and there are lot many studies showing that C-section, if they undergo C-section, they don't get the gut microbes from mother. And it is a gut microbes later on they develop, and gut microbes level will be very less good gut microbes when compared to the babies who born normal delivery through vaginal or vaginal delivery. So another thing, how we get the gut microbes, breastfeeding. Breast milk is another critical sources of maternal microbes. Doctor always suggest there is a high cholesterol in breast milk, so it is a very good lot of antibiotics like monoclonal antibodies. So many antibodies are there. It is rich with growth factors, so many things. So it is always better to go for the breast milk or breastfeeding. So that is from the nutritive perspective. But here, if you look into the genetic perspective, we can see there is these gut microbes will be contributed from maternal side either through vaginal delivery or during breastfeeding, because there is a skin to skin contact will be there, and during this there is a transfer of these gut microbes to the baby. And the infant skin microbes also develop from maternal side, mother skin contact, and that's why hugging with mother during breastfeeding until 5 years the baby will be with mother. So all these things, caregiving, and this leads to transmission of bacteria from mother to infant. So this is also very very important, and these gut microbes are the sources for our mood, or the serotonin mood stabilizer. That is one of the very important aspect for the healthy life, because nowadays many children they end up with a lot of mental issues like a phobia, anxiety, and attention deficit problem, depression, all these things. This is because of the loss of, they don't have much of serotonin produced by the gut microbes, good gut microbes, because they are not contributed these good gut microbes from their mother, because it might be C-section, or they may be taken away, or the time given for the interaction of baby and mother will be very less. Thereby the transmission of these gut microbes to mother will not be there at that high level. So that's a one thing. How female herself, she's empowered, and she's a energy, and she gives life. She contribute for gut microbes. So many other things we have seen. And very important thing about male and female, it is the nature of the brain. Brain is very important. If you look into the brain size and volume, male brain is like a desktop, female brain is like a laptop. Laptop accommodate more information when compared to desktop. So larger volume, male has a larger volume, does not mean more intelligence. So total brain volume is 10 to 13 times in male is larger than in female. Female brain is smaller overall volume. And cortical surface area again larger, female brain surface area. The overall surface area, female it is a smaller. Cortical thickness, it is thinner in males and thicker in females. And storage capacity, intelligence, all these things are very, very high in case of females when compared to males. Female tend to have more densely packed neurons in certain region. That's why they are very smarter, many times handling different situation. And this corpus callosum is the structure which connects the right brain and the left brain. Both the things will be connected by this corpus callosum. And female brain, why she is a multitasker? Because the right side of the brain and left side of the brain are connected very well in females. Not only right and left, front, back, all connections are very good in females. Whereas in males, this connection is not very strong. So that's why they are not a multitasker. And not many studies done to support the connectivity or the neuroplasticity of females. They want to know why females are multitasker, why not male. Finally, they found that the networking is so jumbled up that they connect entire brain. And hippocampus is a region, it is for the learning and memory. And females have large hippocampus relative to brain size, and they have a lot of emotional memory. They remember everything. They remember their marriage date, they remember the anniversary, birthday, and not only hers, the birthday of all family members. She remember all emotion. But male, they don't remember anything because the hippocampus is smaller in males when compared to females, and females have a larger hippocampus. Thereby, the memory is also very strong, and emotional memory. It is not only the memory; it is emotional memory is very high. And another very important in even learning also, female learn some of the things, they learn very fast. That's why girls are better in learning when compared to boys because of the hippocampus. That's the region where they learn far better or faster than the males. Amygdala is a very important region. So we have a three brains, like a brain stem and a limbic system. Limbic system mainly it is amygdala and the prefrontal cortex. That is the front brain. This amygdala is site of all emotion, fear, aggression, and hungry, thirsty, sexual urge. All kind of emotions are there in the amygdala. So this amygdala involved emotion, fear, aggression, all this. Males, this is larger than the females. That's why they are very aggressive. Always they want to fight. Anything, they'll be very aggressive because the amygdala is larger in males when compared to females. And some studies link this to higher threat sensitivity, aggression, spatial behavior in males when compared to females. And hypothalamus, I told you, very important region where it is the one which first releases hormone which supports to overcome the stress. And these differences are strongly influenced by prenatal testosterone exposure. The prenatal means during development, baby will produce, once the testis is developed, testis will produce testosterone and baby will be exposed to developmental stage itself where testosterone will be there. And because of the testosterone, there is a difference in the nature of the working nature of the hypothalamus, both in males and female. And cerebellum is the another region where motor coordination, timing, cognition, large volume in males, but it works very well in females. So these are all some of the regions in the brain. Gray matter and white matter is a kind of a neurons which present, and they always decides the cognitive behavior. That is a verbal skill. Male generally outperform female in some of the tasks, but the females are stronger in verbal skills, reading, comprehension. That's why many anchors, and we can see in a receptionist, they are all majority, they are females because verbal things are very good, language commanding, and the way they speak, they remember, and all the presentation, everything. Even very small things, they know how to elaborate beautifully, vibrant, colorfully. But men, it is not possible because of these white versus gray matter distribution in males, and it is less in case of males. That's why these some of these things, expression, language comprehension, all reading, all these things cannot be possible. They do, but females outperform these skills when compared to males. And most of the time, anything, though it is a sensational thing, men generally they don't exaggerate. the news. But female, the same thing will elaborate and they make it very vibrant, colorful, and it is very like no, it will very attractive. And that's why most of these many occupations, professions, especially air hostess, receptionist, newsreaders, most of the time it is a female because of the changes in the brain. And multitasking, I told you, that's the excellent one. Research, lot many research done, and they showed that female may be better at multitasking, and because of the brain structure. And here I'll show this one. So this is the structure of the brain in, this is the male brain. It is so compartmentalized. So here what happened, they can take up only one task at a time. If you give two tasks, then it is not possible for them, two or three tasks, they don't remember any one of the tasks. So the thing is, what we have to do, we have to give one after another. Once the task is completed, then we can assign them another task. Then they do very well, but one after another. At a time, simultaneously, they can't perform because the brain is designed compartmentalized. Whereas in case of female, see, it is a puzzling. You don't know where to get in or where to get out. So cumbersome, jumbled up. That's why connection from here to here, here to here, here to here. We don't know how. That's why they can listen, they can read, they can write, they can remember, and they'll be thinking something else, sitting, and so many things they do at a time with space and time. But man cannot perform. And always, because of the testosterone, man will be thinking about the sex, and female need for the commitment. And here, see the region of the brain in female, it is love. This is a respect, so many things. But here it is sex, it is beer, it is food, it is TV, once again sex, again playing football, again sex, like that. So always it will be the amygdala, especially it concentrate more of reproduction when compared to commitment. But in females, it is more for commitment when compared to the reproduction. That's why she is a multitasker. She could do so many things. And because of the arrangement, when it is not possible, because of always he look for the basic things. He looks for the basic things for the life. That is, one is food, then sex, and that's why see here everything, and entertainment. And here always it is thinking about commitment, then it wants respect, then all these things, so many which is related to the societal thing. That's why they have a social resilience when compared to male. Emotional processing, emotional expression, female tend to be more expressive with their emotion when compared to males. In any social situation, they outperform male when compared to males with reference to emotional expression. They often have a stronger emotional reaction to stress and are more likely to do the emotional communication. Stress response, they perform so well. Men and women can experience stress differently, and females, for example, they are more likely to exhibit a tend and befriend response. Always, even though there is a fight, immediately they can bend themselves. They are so flexible, they become friends. But male, always they exhibit fight or flight. They escape from the situation, otherwise they fight. But females, they make the situation soothing, they calm down everyone, and they become very friendly. Even though there are fights, there are differences, there are a lot of different opinions, and even then they know how to take the situation in their hand. And that's why, because it has been developed during the course of evolution, they were communicating with the family members, they were communicating with the society, they are communicating with the neighbors, and everyone, they have a different attitude, different nature, brought up in a different thing. All these things, because of that, the emotional processing so good. That's why always we send girl to their in-laws house, because they know how to get adjust with, even though they brought up in a totally different environment, within no time they get adjust to the environment given. That is nothing but a task for them. They outperform the task. But the same situation, boy coming and living with in-laws, it is not that comfortable for both of them. But girls going to their in-laws, living with them, it is a routine thing because tend and be friendly responses from females. And I told you the corpus callosum connectivity, make the excellent connectivity and better communication between the both the hemisphere, right side of the brain, left side of the brain. And that's why they excel in multitasking and social recognition. At a time, they perform everything very well. And limbic system, I told you that is a amygdala. It's a emotional one, and women exhibit more intense emotional response and memory recall, but it will be for short time. Immediately they will overcome because they drain all the emotions and they will be free from the things. So they have a very good emotional quotient. And mental health, when we compare this, when we take up this task, mental health, that's anxiety and depression, females are more likely to experience depression and anxiety because of the estrogen hormone. And anxiety will be more in females because of the estrogen. Men, however, it is less likely to seek help or express emotions. But what happened? They struggle. So they can't put all the things out. But inside they struggle very hard because they don't have a support from their estrogen hormone. And thereby it is not possible for them to relieve all the emotional things. And that's why we can see lot of males or boys, they have this autism, attention deficit problem. Males are more likely to diagnose with the autism, attention deficit problem, that is a hyperactivity, all these things when compared to females. And brain connectivity, I told you, right side, it is connected everywhere like a jumbled thing. So thereby communication, multitasking ability, all these things are excellent in case of females when compared to males. That's why whenever we have to give some task, we should think whether many things could be done by single person. So for example, where we can see females are outperforming compared to males in any organization, whether it is a private or government or whatever may be, because they have that capacity, they can manage everything very well. But males physically they are stronger, but emotionally they are not. And this multitasking they can't do, they can't remember the things also. And that's why most of the time it will be the females who perform better always when compared to males. Gene expression also, I told you, at a molecular level, females have a X chromosome, two X chromosomes are there. Thereby, they perform so many things very well when compared to males. Males, I told you, Y chromosome, that is only for the reproduction. Hormone influence on brain development, it is always the testosterone hormone in males converted into estradiol, and that's why some of the regions of the brain will be influenced by the testosterone. So even estradiol makes some masculinization of the brain, like a promoting neuronal growth, then suppressing apoptosis, that's a cell death, and synaptogenesis means connection between the two neurons. So all these things are good because of the testosterone. Estrogen, it is the neuroprotection and the plasticity. So that's why Alzheimer, Parkinson, Huntington, all these memory loss, all these neurodegenerative disorders are very common in males when compared to females. Females, they don't end up with this neurodegenerative disorder because estrogen protects, it gives a neuroprotection and plasticity. And most of the time they'll be involved in multitasking and brain will be always will be active and it will be healthy. Thereby, once the brain is active, then some of the toxins, they cannot deposited in the neurons, thereby the brain cells will be healthy. Whereas in case of males, so they don't have, first of all, they don't have a neuroprotection. They don't have a neuroplasticity also. So, and they are also not involved in multitasking. So what happened? There is a scope for these toxins, like some of the protein, amyloid plaques. They deposit in the neuron, thereby majority, it is always the males who are susceptible or in a danger zone with reference to the neurodegenerative disorder, that is forgetfulness, memory loss. So after 60s, gradually they develop this. Nowadays, there's a hike in these neurodegenerative disorder like Alzheimer, Parkinson, Huntington, all these things. And epigenetic modification, even in the DNA, we can see there are greater, female brain shows greater methylation of the certain gene for the stress response. Whatever we have seen, ladies, they lose their husband, they raise their children, and they struggle very hard to make them good in the society, all these things. But man cannot do all this. So it is very hard, difficult for them to manage these things because some of the genes for the related to stress response are inactivated in female. But whereas in males, those genes are activated. So they can't express, but they can't manage the situation. For example, if she has gone to her mother's place, 2-3 days, he cannot manage the home, kid, his work. Not possible. He's not a multitasker. He don't remember the things, first of all, and he can't bear the stress also. He don't know how to dress up the children. He don't know how to cook. So all these are a stressor for him, and he don't know how to manage the stress. But it could be done excellent by females because some of the stress responsive genes are completely inactivated in females when compared to males. That is an epigenetic thing. And lot of neurotransmitter hormones, dopamine, serotonin, all these, males have higher level of these compared to female. Dopamine is a rewarding hormone. That's why they are vulnerable for addiction, drug addiction, alcohol addiction, and risk taking. All these are more in case of male. Females, no addiction, nothing. They don't get into addiction because of the estrogen, which will protect the brain. Main, so it is a dopamine always, which forces, it's a rewarding. So once they drink, next day they wanted to have more. So like that, the addiction begins and he will be addicted. Serotonin, they have a lesser serotonin, and that's why they are very aggressive, and impulsivity will be very high in males. Whereas females, they have more serotonin, mood hormone. So always whatever the thing, they'll be in a good mood. And these are another hormones like a GABA, glutamate. These things, differences in, we do find differences with reference to these two things in both males and females. Thereby excitation will be more in case of males when compared to females. And there is a lot of fluctuation of these things in females during menstrual or menopause. That's why there is a mood change, mood fluctuation, hot flashes, and all these things are quite common in females only during menstrual cycle during that time and menopausal. But males only during that time. Otherwise, they'll be fine. They manage everything. But males, this inhibition and excitatory, that is, it is more. Whatever they see, immediately they'll be excited. They don't know how to control, whether it is drug abuse or whatever may be. But in females, that things are highly managed, maintained very well. Only problem for them is during the menstruation or the menopausal, they have some issues. Otherwise, it is fine. So females, these brain-derived neurotropic factor, these are some of the proteins. They will be more in case of females, and males, it is less. So the learning and memory region, all these things, why they are very good in such things, because some protein, it is just like a nutrition. It is produced more in case of females, and it is because of the estrogen. All these are a hormone game only. So estrogen will upregulate these proteins, genes, and finally proteins. Females, they have this. Their neuroplasticity will be good, everything. But males, this is very less. That's why some of the region in the brain is not sharp, and that too with reference to learning, memory region, all these skills. So immunity, females have more immunity because they have a more immune cells in the brain when compared to males. And female brain has more adaptive immune responses genes and for brain related problem. That's why they don't develop any brain related issues compared to males. That is a neurodegeneration is less in case of females when compared to males. So yeah, this is how the structure of brain in males and females are different, and at molecular level we have seen how different both the things, and this decides the empowerment. All this already I told you, no, females are empowered already, and only thing is it has to be re-evaluated, it has to be seen by everyone in a different scientific context. Then we can the theme could be discussed in a different that is a in a different ways. Portals will be opened, and the introspection could be done, and in a different context we can look into that theme. So